Good morning and good Sunday. Welcome to the North Chapel. My name is Kathy Estimborski and I will be today's service coordinator. Our minister, Reverend Dr. Leon Dunkley, is away today, and I'm very excited to have Theresa Snow here as our guest reflector. Theresa is the founder of Salvation Farms, which she'll be telling you more about a bit later. Her reflection is entitled Harvest, Abundance, and Interconnection. Theresa and I met many years ago when she brought her organization into the Southeast State Correctional Facility in Windsor. She created a space where potatoes and other produce that had been gleaned from farms throughout the state could be cleaned and packaged and sent out to food shelves and other nonprofits. The incarcerated people that worked on the project learned so much about our food system, working as a team, and they were also given the opportunity to give back to their communities. Theresa was amazing, teaching her crew how to operate the machinery while they learned so much about food waste and recovery. Many lessons from this project that stayed with them beyond their incarceration. I'm excited to see Theresa today, as well as to hear more about what Salvation Farms has been accomplishing since our days in the correctional facility. Welcome to any visitors who are with us today. We have a guest book in the back that we'd love to have you sign. I think Tatum is here, yes? Yeah. For spiritual exploration, and we'll be taking the kids downstairs in a little bit. Please take the time now to silence your phones and any other devices that go beep. There's a lot going on at the North Chapel, and you'll find lots of announcements and activities in your order of service. I especially want to draw your attention to the dinner that will be happening here at the North Chapel next Saturday, October 14th. We're doing the circle dinner format here in the social hall. Sherry Belial is organizing the event, so please connect with her to sign up for a table. Kids are welcome, and there's going to be a rousing round of bingo that Tatum is going to be calling, and he's got quite a bit of experience doing this. This is a great way for new and old community members to get to know one another on a little deeper level. I hope you'll consider attending. The wreath sale is also underway, and Mary Blanton is taking orders after church if you're interested, and this is, next Sunday will be the last Sunday that you can sign up. And Mary also was going to come up to explain about the insert in our order of service.
So you've obviously noticed the last two Sundays we've had inserts. At the annual meeting last year, people were really curious about our financial situation, and we were not being very transparent. So we decided this year we would make sure we did that. So this one is a budget and expenses, and then next week will be information about the pledge drive. So, and it's also, there's a link also on our website, I think, so you can see it at home if you don't want to have it here. So thanks so much.
The theme for worship in the month of October is curiosity. Curiosity has been described as beginner's mind. It asks why, with wonder, not anxiety. When we experience something unfamiliar, do we desire to know more? A person can be like a child, full of amazement and interest, opening up to our diverse, complicated, and sometimes strange world. Our opening words today are written by Shane Smith and called The Quest of Curiosity. The questions posed at the end express the curiosity that lingers in the mind. Seeking answers, they unravel the mysteries of life, leading to new discoveries. Like stars in the night sky, they illuminate the path of knowledge, guiding us through the realms of uncertainty. With each question, a journey of exploration begins, lighting the spark of wonder and sparking a quest for understanding that knows no bounds.
Good morning. Think about what you had for breakfast this morning. Maybe you didn't have breakfast, but if you didn't, think about what maybe you'd like to have had for breakfast. You know, we all eat. And that means that we have an intimate relationship with the environment. We're living beings on this planet, and it's the fruits of this planet that provides for our subsistence and our well-being. Maybe you're a gardener. Maybe you know a farmer. Maybe you have no idea where your food comes from, but that it's there when you need it. So, my name's Theresa Snow. I'm the founding director of an organization called Salvation Farms. We're based in northern Vermont in Morrisville. It's the town and community in which I was born and raised. Some of my earliest memories were of eating raspberries, wild raspberries, in the backyard of my parents' home, picking peas from the garden that I was instructed to put in the pail, but none never made it into the pail. Helping on my grandparents' dairy farm, thinking I was helping haying, but they probably were trying not to have me crushed with hay bales. These were some of the earliest memories that I have. And I didn't realize how powerful they were until I attended Sterling College in northern Vermont in Craftsbury, which I didn't know existed until literally I was applying to attend as a student. So while I didn't have to dial 802 to call home, it felt worlds away. And this amazing small little school made me realize what an amazing place, not just the planet and Earth, but Vermont, that I live in and on. It gave me a real sense of place, and it gave me direction and purpose for what I'd call, or most people would identify as, teenage angst. I had a lot of anxiety and anger and rebellion, and I didn't quite know why or where it all came from, but I realized that it was this sense that there was greater purpose and meaning to being and existing, and Sterling helped me realize that I could be a productive steward of my natural and human communities. I was inspired to be a farmer, subsistence homesteader, but after Sterling College, I had enrolled in an AmeriCorps program, and that AmeriCorps program was set to begin in the fall of 2001. And I was set to go to Washington, D.C. in the middle of September. But on September 11th, our World Trade Towers and the Pentagon were hit. And I realized at that moment, I didn't quite know what the future held. So I called AmeriCorps and said, am I still coming? What are we doing? And they said, we still want you. And so within 7 or 8 days, I was on a plane headed to DC. And about 6 weeks later, I was sent with a group of my peers, 18 to 24 years old, to Manhattan. And we were assigned to work with the Red Cross after the collapse of the World Trade Towers. And we were in a family assistance center, Midtown, along the Hudson River in a huge hangar, I guess that's what you call them. There were lots of social service agencies in this building. And my job that I was tasked with the Red Cross was to work one-on-one with individuals who had lost their jobs, who had lost their homes, or who had lost family members as a result of this tragedy. Now, I had come from this place, Vermont, which is kind of a haven, you know, it feels a little untouchable, and this great background of understanding a relationship with the land and having a land and home-based economy. And as I sat across from people in Manhattan who had spent all of their savings to this point to try to make it through, I realized that as a population, we're incredibly vulnerable. That if we don't have community, if we don't have connection with basic resources like food, water, and clean air, we don't have a lot. We don't have agency. And it was not at that moment that I said, I'm gonna do something about this. I struggled for a number of years with this reality of seeing this vulnerability that we all shared, and this disconnection to each other and the land and what it takes to take care of ourselves. I had been working for a farmer, and he saw that I was having this struggle, and he says, well, what the heck do you want to do? And I said, I want to teach people. I think I want to teach people about farms and about food and about how we can take better care of ourselves and our communities and our environment. And he says, I have a lot of extra food. Can you do anything with it? And ironically, while I was also in AmeriCorps, I was exposed to this idea of gleaning. Gleaning is the act of reaping after the harvest. It's biblically referenced. It was historically done by the poor and traveler. And then in some European countries, it's still set in law that farmers need to allow gleaning to occur. And essentially, it's allowing people to access your field post your harvest. When what you've taken is removed from the field, what is left is available for the poor and traveler. So based on this invitation or offer from this farmer to do something on their farm that could help feed me spiritually and help get me out of this rut of maybe frustration and concern and confusion, I started gleaning. And shortly after, I found someone who believed in the idea, and we established a nonprofit project called Salvation Farms. And what Salvation Farms has done since that time, almost 20 years has gone by, we've developed a variety of different programs that work to use edible quality food that farms grow that aren't harvested, or they're harvested but not sold. And we move this food to places in our community that won't compete with farms' primary markets. That's primarily charitable food, like food shelves and senior meal sites, but some of it's to institutions like prisons and schools. So we work with farmers collaboratively where they donate product or we buy the product from them. What's important to us is that this benefits the farm as much as it benefits individuals. So I'll step back a little bit. We talk about excess food in our mission. We talk about food loss. Most folks have heard about food waste, that we waste people. We waste anywhere from approximately 40% of all of the food that's produced, somewhere between production and our homes. A lot of food is actually wasted in restaurants and cafeterias and supermarkets and in our homes. Large percent, majority of the food is wasted where we have some sort of decision over that food being used or not. A smaller percent, estimated around 15 to 20% nationally, is lost on farms, and that's what Salvation Farms focuses on. So we did a study, Salvation Farms, about food loss in Vermont, trying to figure out how much edible food is left on our state's farms each year. There aren't good numbers around this because most people don't see this. Farmers see this, but the general public does not. So based on farmer estimates and census data, we generated an estimate around 14.3 million pounds of edible vegetables and berries are left on Vermont farms each year. And this isn't unique to Vermont. This happens anywhere there's farm production. And there's a lot of different reasons for it, and it's really not the farmer's fault. So what does 14.3 million pounds of vegetables and berries looks like? And I don't say fruit because no orchards answered this survey. So there's probably a lot more considering how many orchards we have in Vermont. You can fit about 1 ton of potatoes in an average size pickup truck. So 1 ton's 2,000 pounds, 1 ton, 14 million pounds. Well, you'd fill about 7,000 pickup trucks. And if you put those pickup trucks end to end, they would extend 26 miles long or more. So for those that live around here, that's the distance from the Waterbury exit to the Springfield exit. A marathon of nutrition, I say. Now, if it wasn't just potatoes or carrots, there's likely a lot more trucks extending much longer distance. So what Salvation Farms does is see this as an opportunity as opposed to a problem. And going back to what you had for breakfast, going back to how we have agency in our lives and in our communities, about how we have relationship and connection to the earth, how can we make better use of this food in our communities, in our state, in a way that reduces all of our vulnerabilities, right? Because we can't always depend on things that are from afar, which we depend on a lot of things from afar. So what Salvation Farms is looking at is, and this sounds a little wonky, the supply chain. So we've learned a lot about the supply chain during the pandemic. Not everything that we thought would get to us got to us. And so we believe that with this food, if we can figure out how to get it from the farm and to people and what needs to happen in between, we can start to rebuild the local food system in a small way that gives us more ability to eat more of what our farms produce and leave less of it on our state's farms. So we glean, we organize volunteers, we collect surplus, and then we move that to charitable food sites. We also receive large donations from farmers. We also buy product from farmers. And this food we clean and pack, and we distribute into charitable food sites, but we also sell some to institutions. And we're also making frozen food products. And that product makes it easier to extend the shelf life, easier to use for places like senior meals and schools. And we're also inspired by the idea of making shelf-stable foods, canned, dehydrated food. This food is really more secure for us. It doesn't necessarily depend on more energy and overhead to hold. So beyond our work here in Vermont, most of our work we think of as models, that we can create models in a region, which is northern Vermont, that others can adapt and replicate in their region. We've helped multiple organizations in Vermont do similar work, and we're also providing inspiration and technical assistance to organizations across this country. So you're probably wondering, like, what can you do? Is there a role for you in all of this? Well, as I said in the beginning, I hope you all eat on a regular basis. I know some people aren't always fortunate to have stable nutrition, but think about your role as an eater. Think about how you use your investment in the food system to create change in the short term and long term. There are organizations in this area and likely in other areas if you're not from Woodstock. Willing Hands is an organization here that does involve volunteers that you can support. But Salvation Farms work needs supporters as well, and we need advocates. That this work, regardless of it being our mission or supporting our organization, this is important to all of us. So being able to just tell this story to other people is really important to sustain Salvation Farms' mission. I did bring some paperwork. It's out front, some stickers. We have a sign-up sheet if you want to sign up to stay informed. But I think the message I'd want to leave you all with is something that has provided me inspiration for a long time, and it's a quote from an Aboriginal woman in Australia. And it says that if you have come to help me, then you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound with mine, then let us work together. Thank you.
I forgot to share the sad news that there's no coffee hour, so don't go looking for it. So we'll sit at the beginning. So in closing today, here's a poem by an unknown author to remind us to be curious and find the wonderment and awe that is all around us. It's called I Wonder What That's Like. I wonder what it's like living beneath the vast ocean, swimming between stingrays, having lunch with dolphins, not carrying an umbrella in the downpouring rain, catching a current to Australia, spotting an octopus waltzing, pausing to enjoy colorful coral, or joining a school of clownfish. I wonder what that's like. Thank you for being here this morning, and have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week.